Today's video is 16 amazing castles you must visit before you die. Be sure to make fun of my pronunciations in the comments. Our first castle is Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. Neuschwanstein is a 19th century historicist palace built on a rugged hill above the village of Hohenschwerin, Germany. The palace was commissioned by King Ludwig II as a retreat in honor of Richard Wagner. Construction began in 1869 but was never fully completed. The castle was intended as a private retreat for the king until he unfortunately died in 1886. The castle was then opened to the public. The building design was drafted by the stage designer Christian Jonck and realized by the architect Edward Riedel. Our next castle is Stein Castle. Stein is a large Gothic castle founded in 1348 by Charles IV, who was the Holy Roman Emperor-elect and King of Bohemia. The castle served as a place for safekeeping the imperial regalia, as well as the Bohemian crown jewels, holy relics, and other royal treasures. In 1422, during the siege of the castle, Hussite attackers used biological warfare when Prince Sigismund Korybut used catapults to throw dead bodies and 200 carriage loads of poop over the walls. Our next castle is Pina Palace. Pina is a Romanticist castle on the Portuguese Riviera. The castle stands on the top of a hill in the Sintra Mountains. It is considered one of the 7 wonders of Portugal. The castle started as a chapel dedicated to Our Lady of Pina. An apparition of the Virgin Mary was seen at this location, and that's what started the construction of the chapel. The castle was in the possession of the royal family until 1889, when it was purchased by the Portuguese state. Our next castle is Malburg Castle in Poland. Malburg is a 13th century Teutonic castle and fortress located near Malburg, Poland. It is the largest castle in the world measured by land area. It was originally constructed by the Teutonic Knights, a German Catholic religious order of crusaders. In 1457, it was sold by Bohemian mercenaries to King Casimir IV of Poland in lieu of indemnities. This castle remains to this day the largest brick complex in all of Europe. Our next castle is the Hohenzollern Castle in Germany. Hohenzollern is the ancestral seat of the imperial house of Hohenzollern and located on Mount Hohenzollern. Try saying that 10 times fast. The current castle is the 3rd such castle built on the same location. The current castle was built during 1846 and 1867 as a family memorial. The architect was Friedrich August Stoller and based his design on the English Gothic Revival architecture and the Chateau of the Loire Valley. Some cool historical artifacts found in the castle are the crown of Wilhelm II, personal effects of King Frederick the Great, a letter from the first U.S. President George Washington thanking Hohenzollern relative Baron von Steuben for his service in the American Revolutionary War. Our next castle is Eltz Castle, located in Germany. Eltz is a medieval castle in the hills between Koblenz and Trier, Germany. It is still owned by a branch of the Eltz family that lived there in the 12th century. The oldest part of the castle was constructed in the 9th century. By 1157, the fortress was an important part of the Holy Roman Empire under Frederick Barbarossa. In the Palatinate War of Succession from 1688 to 1689, most of the castles were destroyed, but because in Eltz was a senior officer, he was able to protect the castle from destruction. The castle opened seasonally, and tourists can roam the Rubinach and Rodendorf portion of the castle, but the Kempenich branch of the castle is off limits. Our next castle is Donan Castle in Scotland. Donan is a small tidal island situated at the confluence of 3 sea locks in the Highlands of Scotland. The only entrance is via a land bridge that was installed in the 20th century. This castle was built in the 13th century and was the stronghold of Clan Mackenzie and Clan McRae. The original castle was destroyed in 1719 when government ships bombarded the castle due to the Mackenzies' involvement in the Jacobite rebellions. This is real Highlander stuff right there. Our next castle is Windsor Castle, located in England, home of the royal family. Windsor is the royal residence in Windsor, England. The original castle was built in the 11th century after the Norman invasion of England by William the Conqueror. Since Henry I, the castle has been used by the reigning monarch. It is the longest occupied palace in Europe. The castle was originally designed as a moat and bailey to oversee a strategically important part of the River Thames. Henry III built a luxurious royal palace, and Edward III expanded the palace into what is now the most expensive secular building of the entire Middle Ages in England. Windsor was used as a refuge by the royal family during the Luftwaffe bombing campaigns of the Second World War. Our next castle is Oberhofen Castle in Switzerland. Oberhofen is a castle in Canton of Bern in Switzerland. Freiherr von Oberhofen built Balmoral Castle on a hill above the village sometime around 1000 to 1200. In 1200, Ida von Oberhofen married into the von Escherbach family, and the castle name was changed. In the 13th century, William IV von Escherbach was assassinated, and the family was forced to sell the palace to the Habsburgs. The castle changed hands many times until the 1940s, when William Measy established the Oberhofen Castle Foundation to maintain this beautiful castle. Our next castle is Schwerin Castle in Germany. Schwerin is located in the city of Schwerin, Germany. It is situated on an island in the city's main lake, Lake Schwerin. For centuries, the castle was home to the dukes and the grand dukes of the Mecklenburg and then Mecklenburg-Schwerin family. Today, part of the residence is still occupied by the Mecklenburg-Vorpommern State Parliament, and the rest is accessible to tourists. In 1525 to 1575, under John Albert I, Duke of Mecklenburg, the fort was turned into a palace. Fun fact is the palace's ghost, Peter Manche, is said to roam the halls of the Schweriner Schloss, which also means castle. This invisible creature is said to be only a few feet tall and is often depicted in clothes from the 17th century. There are other legends that describe him as a long-bearded blacksmith or a prankster to those who would seek to harm or steal from the castle. Our next castle is Garo Castle in Italy. Garo is a fortress from the Scaliger era. It is one of Italy's best preserved castles. The castle was built in the 14th century on Lake Garda, Italy. Construction was started by the della Scala family of Verona, who are known as the Scaligeri. This family ruled Verona from 1259 to 1387. The castle was controlled by the Republic of Venice when the della Scala family submitted to Venice in 1405. The fortress continued to be used until the unification of Italy, when it then became an office of the local Sirmione government. Our next castle is Swallow's Nest Castle, located in Crimea. Swallow's Nest is a decorative castle located in Gaspra in the Crimea Peninsula. It was built between 1911 and 1912 on the top of an Aurora cliff in a neo-Gothic design by the Russian architect Leonid Sherwood for Baron von Steingl. The castle overlooks the Black Sea. In 1927, the Swallow's Nest survived an earthquake of 6 to 7 on the Richter scale. The castle has been used as the setting of the Deschat Negrityat, the 1987 Soviet screen version of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. The castle was also featured in the children's book Mr. Blott's Academy and Mio in the Land of Faraway. Our next castle is Balmoral Castle in Scotland. Balmoral is a large estate in Aberdeenshire, Scotland, and another residence of the British royal family. The estate was bought from the Farquharson family in 1852 by Prince Albert. Promptly after the royal family found the house too small, they commissioned the current castle to be built. This was the summer residence of Queen Elizabeth II, who unfortunately died at the castle on September 8, 2022. This is a working estate including grouse moors, forestry and farmland, as well as managed herds of deer, Highland cattle, sheep, and of course, ponies. Our next castle is Chateau de Peyroux in France. Chateau de Peyroux is a castle situated in the region of Picardy, France. It is situated in the commune of Pierrefonds. The chateau has many defensive military structures from the Middle Ages, but most were removed in the reconstruction done in the 19th century. The chateau was built in the 12th century. The castle was razed by the order of Richelieu and was left in ruin until 1810, when it was bought by Napoleon I for 3,000 francs. The chateau has been designated a historical monument since 1848. In 1857, Napoleon III ordered the full restoration of the chateau. Our next castle, and my personal favorite, is the Chateau de Chamble. Chateau de Chamble in Chambord, France, is one of the most recognizable chateaus in the world. It has a very distinctive French Renaissance architecture. The chateau was constructed by Francis I in 1519, but was never finished. After the death of Francis, the French kings abandoned the chateau for 80 years until Gaston d'Orléans, brother of King Louis VIII, carried out much-needed renovations in 1639. From 1725 to 1733, Stanislas Lex Seniecki lived there. In 1745, the king gave the chateau to Maurice de Saxe until his death in 1750, when the chateau was abandoned again. In the wake of the 1792 French Revolution, some of the furnishings were sold and the timber removed. The building was again left abandoned until the 19th century. During the Second World War, artworks were moved to the chateau from the Louvre and the Chateau de Chamble. The chateau was opened to the public in 2007. Our last castle is the Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. Hohenzollern is a 19th century palace located in southern Germany. It was the childhood residence of King Ludwig II of Bavaria and was built by his father, King Maximilian II of Bavaria. The castle is located in the village of Hohenschwangau. King Maximilian died in 1864, and his son Ludwig succeeded to the throne and lived at the castle until his death in 1886. Prince Regent Luitpold is responsible for the electrification in 1905 and the installation of an electric elevator. Luitpold died in 1912, and the palace was opened as a museum the following year. I hope I didn't butcher the pronunciations too much, but please subscribe and smash that like button. Press the notifications bell to avoid missing any videos. Until next time, keep exploring, even if it's just your backyard. Be sure to check out the links in the description to help plan your next dream vacation.